Welcome to Stupid Money. Not that money is stupid. Most of us would love to have more of it, but sometimes we make stupid decisions with it. You don't have to. This is the show that unpacks how to stop making stupid decisions so you can be smarter with your money and have a happier, fulfilled life. Join us today as we look at charitable giving. Thank you for joining us. I'm Diana, and I'm here with John and Vivian. John, do you have a crazy, stupid thing we do with our money?
Oh, yes. Buying toys that your kids don't play with.
True that. My nieces would rather play with grown-up household items.
Mm-hmm.
Here's another one. Designer clothes for children.
Oh, yeah.
Ooh, true. They grow out of it so fast.
Tennis shoes.
Exactly.
So why would we spend so much money on it?
Don't know. Want that look?
That's true, the look. You know what I was thinking about? I know the Bible says that I should be giving, but should is not a good enough motive for me. What should be driving my motives?
God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son. Whosoever believeth on him should not perish but have everlasting life. What happened there? Jesus brought the most valuable asset in the universe to this world and gave his life.
Wow.
It's called grace. I mean, that's the only motive for true giving.
That's powerful. So what you're saying is, I give as a response to an act of love.
And it reflects
Jesus.
his character.
It does
Yes.
reflect his character. So when I give, I reflect his character.
Yes.
I'm looking forward to talking about this more. Now, did you take the charitable giving question to the streets with you?
Yes, we asked people what excited them about giving, and we simply asked them about tithe.
Ooh, I can't wait to see what the responses were. Let's take a look at that.
What gets you excited about giving to a charity?
Feeling like you're doing a good cause, helping out your community. So if you're not giving back to your community, I feel like you're not successful.
If the mission of the charity coincides with something that strikes near and dear to my heart and is aligned with my visions, then I would be excited to give to that charity.
If it's something that I believe in, I'm all for giving the money. I maybe do a little research how to spend the money, but I'm happy to give money, maybe time too.
What gets me excited to give to a charity would be what cause I would be giving to. So, for example, we tithe to our church because we know where that money is being used or how the money is being used. And then different organizations, whether it be cancer research or something along those lines, depending on how the money is going to be used.
How do you feel about tithing to a church?
Tithing? What's tithing?
I believe in tithing, so yeah, I tithe.
Not very good. I think particularly with the larger churches, there's the problem of, again, exactly where is the money going? Is it reaching the people that need it? So my preference is to directly give it rather than to go through a tithe.
Tithing is very important, either to church or synagogue or organization. 10% have been given as a rule of law in the Torah, in the Bible, that we must share the 10%. The 10%, even if you give it, it's not you're giving to the church or you're giving to the synagogue or thing, but you're doing something for mitzvah, we call something good to do, because you're going to be a blessing to the other people in the community or through the organization you believe in. So I believe 10%. And if you can give more than 10%, even though better.
You know, John, I so enjoy these street interviews. For example, that gentleman who talked about tithing his tithes to the Old Testament,
In the Torah,
so informed.
Yeah, he was good. Good answer.
There was such a wide spectrum of answers. Yeah.
What I noticed that there were people wanting to give to something specific, And then all the answers represented the entire spectrum of opinions about tithe.
Yeah.
Now, Vivian, earlier you were telling me about a story that was so amazing, I felt like, in talking about these.
Well, it's about when I really understood what giving was all about. And it was early on in my walk with God. I was a young mother and had a young child, 8 months old. My husband was in med school. And we were giving faithfully in Houston, but then we moved. And when we moved, it was so he could go to medical school.
Oh, wow.
And the church that we were formerly at was in a building program. And we had made a commitment.
You made a pledge.
Made a pledge to that program. And because we left, we assumed we didn't have to honor that pledge anymore.
You moved away.
We moved away. Well, one of the mothers from the church gave us a call one night, and she reminded us of that pledge.
Oh.
And she said that your membership is still here, therefore you need to send that money here.
I'm not going to let you off the hook.
She didn't let us off the hook.
Woman.
But of course, medical school, lots of bills, one income.
Surely you had enough reasons to say, sorry, we won't be able to honor that.
I did, and so I put the phone down. I told her, let me talk with my husband. And he said, sure, go ahead and tell her we'll send $200. I nearly dropped dead because we didn't have that type of money.
He's in medical school, living on student loans, one income.
Tight budget. So here it is, an extra $200, and he said, we're putting it in the mail tomorrow.
Right away.
Right away. But when I hung up the phone, I began to question his logic behind it, his sanity. And he decided that we should pray. And we did, we prayed. He put the check in the mail the next day. Well, this was probably mid-month, and that's why he could do it then, because we still had money. But by the end of the month, Diana, we were out of money. And not only that, but the plumbing backed up. We couldn't afford a plumber. My husband had to do that. And we had promised people that they could come over for that weekend. And we decided, well, we have just enough food to feed them this weekend. Sort of like the Last Supper, literally. So we kept our promise. They came to the house. And we did not let them know that we didn't have anything after that, but that was going to be it for us that weekend.
Amazing.
Well, the friends came over, and they were doing so well. Same age as we were.
Financially?
Well, they were doing wonderfully financially. They had just bought a new car.
Oh.
And they wanted us, John, to come out and see the new car.
Just what you wanted to see.
Just what I needed to see, this new car.
Not.
So we go out to the car, and I make a quick trip around. Okay, let's go back inside. No, look inside. Why do you want to torture me like this?
Yeah.
So looked inside. Look in the back seat.
What was
Why? When I opened the doors to the back seat, there were bags of groceries from one end of that car to the other, and even on the floor. And
before you prayed, he had answered.
He had answered. Everything from beans and rice to milk, diapers, everything that kept us until we could get more money.
Incredible.
The blessings of God.
John, what do you have to say about that? Like, her story, her
Where
faithfulness.
Giving that offering was an act of faith. And it also says they stuck to a plan. What's interesting is if more people would stick to a plan, there would be some amazing things happen. For example, if all Christians were averaging 10% to their charity, it would eradicate world poverty and world hunger.
For real.
Wow.
For real. That's just absolutely stunning to me.
So if we were having more experiences like Vivian, where we're actually taking God at his word.
Yes, take it at his word, and then have a systematic plan. I call it a personal giving plan. For example, sit down at your house in December and decide how much you're going to give the next year, and then systematically give that. Don't wait for this smooth-talking person at church to try to get the money out of you. Let you and the Lord wrestle with this at home by yourself. That's where it ought to take place.
The reflection of your relationship with God. Now, John, what if we're just not happy with the way our money is being used?
Okay, in Luke chapter 21, verses 1 to 4, there's...
Wait, first let me answer.
Okay.
May I just interrupt, because that just really set something off in me.
Oh, do it.
You know, when you said, what if we're not happy with our money that we give? it's no longer your money. Once you give it, it is no longer yours. It wasn't yours in the first place because God owns everything. But once you release it, it's no longer yours.
So it's an act of faith and it's his responsibility.
That's right.
That's right. And as far as organizations not using it properly that are religious and spiritual in nature, there's the story in Luke chapter 21, verses 1 to 4. This little lady goes in, gives 2 copper coins to an organization that was plotting to take the life of Jesus. And probably most organizations of religious nature haven't done that to us yet. Hopefully they never will. She gave from a heart of love. That is radical giving.
I never thought of it that way. These have been some very deep points, and there's more to come. Join us after the break.
Hello, I'm Danilo.
And I'm Victor.
Today's money hack is about saving money when purchasing light bulbs.
Wow, you can actually save by buying?
Yep.
Tell me more.
Well, there are 3 popular types of compact light bulbs. Incandescent, your traditional light bulb, CFL, which stands for compact fluorescent lamp, and LED.
So what's the difference?
One difference is that energy-saving bulbs last much longer than traditional bulbs. However, we're going to focus on the most important factor for homeowners, which is the difference in the amount of energy they consume.
How much are we talking?
Well, CFLs and LEDs save up to 80% of the amount of energy used by incandescent bulbs.
That seems like a sizable amount. How much money would it save to switch to energy-saving bulbs?
First, let's talk about the price of each bulb. While prices vary depending on wattage and other factors, an incandescent bulb usually costs about $1. A CFL bulb will run you close to $2 a bulb. An LED light bulb costs about the same. This hasn't always been true. Prices have really come down recently.
Okay, gotcha. So there isn't that much of a difference in price.
Not these days.
How many bulbs do most American homes have?
On average, 56 per home.
So how much money is spent per household on energy over the course of 10 years?
Incandescent bulbs will cost you on average about $4,900 over 10 years.
How about CFLs?
About $1,135.
And LEDs?
Only $794.
Wow, that's some serious dough.
Some very serious dough.
So you're telling me that switching from incandescent to LED light bulbs will save most households over the course of 10 years $4,000 in energy costs?
Yes, that's about 4 round-trip tickets from LA to London.
Or 4,000 ice cream cones.
Or you can be healthy and buy 1,300 pounds of broccoli.
That's a lot of broccoli.
Yes, it is, and that's a lot of savings. Thanks for joining us on today's Money Hack.
It's time again for Stewardship for Dummies with Dave and his friend, Grandpa Forgetful. Today, they will talk to us about charitable giving. Let's take a look.
Where's the teeth? Where's the teeth, Sonny? Have you seen the teeth? I'm sorry, I haven't seen your teeth. Where did you place them? If I knew that, I wouldn't be asking you. Look, I'm sorry, but I haven't seen your teeth, Grandpa. I guess you understand I can't chew a dog bone without them. Well, do you have an extra set? Extra set? Have you been to the dentist lately? Those things cost an arm and a leg. And besides, do you have a set you can loan me? No, Grandpa, these are my real teeth. I never denied your teeth wouldn't fit anyway. Why is that? You got a big mouth. Listen, sure seems like you've forgotten a lot lately. What have I forgotten? Well, you forgot Grandma's birthday last month. You forgot your anniversary date last week. Yeah, Grandma wasn't too happy on that. That's right. And last week you lost your tractor keys, and now you've lost your teeth. You know, come to think of it, I might be able to help you buy another set of teeth. Well, that's naughty friendly of you. Well, you know, I enjoy helping others, and in case you didn't know it, God loves a cheerful giver. Now that you say it, you do look naughty cheerful. Well, thank you, it's because I am. You know, I learned a long time ago about giving. Well, I might take you up on that giving thing. Oh, you mean you want to learn the lesson of giving? Nope, I want to learn the lesson of taking. Come on, Grandpa Forgetful, give me a break. Take it easy, Sonny, I'm just kidding. Truth is, I may be forgetting a lot lately, but one thing I haven't forgot is everything belongs to God. Well, that's right, Grandpa. A long time ago, I learned that everything we have and who we are all comes from God. Yep. Also, God wants us to give Him our heart. So have you? What, giving God my heart? What, you need hearing aids? That's what I said. Have you given God your heart? Yes, I have. And you know, some people have a hard time giving God their heart 100%. Yeah, but if people learn to give God their heart 100%, they'd be so blessed. I think I understand what you mean. When we give, we receive. And Sonny, you can't outgive God. That's true. God gave us everything we have. But Grandpa, I have a question for you before you leave. How are you going to eat without your teeth until we can get you some more? Well, that's easy. You ever heard of mashed taters? Oh, I love mashed potatoes. Me too. Hey, Grandma, can you make us some of their world famous mashed taters? The kind I don't need teeth to chew with?
Our guest on the show today is Dorothy, a talented blacksmith from Northern California. Yes, you heard that right, a blacksmith. Stay with us to hear her story. We'll be right back after this break.
I'm John Mathews. Welcome to Stupid Money. I'm about 4 miles from Plymouth, California, in the beautiful foothills of the Sahara Mountains. We are at Stigler Metal Design. Dorothy Stigler is the owner of a blacksmithing shop. Dorothy, welcome to Stupid Money.
Thank you.
How on earth did you get involved in blacksmithing? How long have you been doing this?
You know, I prayed for something that I could do that showed people that God worked in our life. Mm-hmm. And this is what happened. And I've been doing it now 45 years.
So what is your specialty in blacksmithing?
I think probably it would be forging a bronze. Mm-hmm. And putting the pieces together with old world joinery, rivets, mortise and tenon, that sort of thing, as opposed to welding. In the beginning, I didn't know much other than just a few little techniques, and we did some welding. But as I got into it further and further, and the Lord brought me farther into knowledge, I wanted to focus on old world work.
So the pieces that you make, they're one of a kind.
They are. They actually are. And sometimes they don't match left and right. People, you know, we get into this thing where everything has to be the same all along. I try to mix it up a little bit, because when you look at a tree, you see all the leaves are really the same, but if you really get up there, they're not all the same. They're different sizes and they move differently, and I try to do that even with a piece that's a repetitive pattern. Even if it's not in the drawing, I'll improvise that into my work, because suddenly the work takes on life and people notice that and they go, oh my gosh, I didn't know that's what I wanted, but now that I see it, that is exactly what I wanted.
Dorothy, in your spiritual journey, what led you to start tithing?
That's a really good question. You know, I didn't really want to do it because we didn't have any money. We just were pretty hand-to-mouth. And the Lord really impressed me that if I wanted to be successful, and he wasn't, I never got the idea that he meant a lot of money. He meant if I wanted to touch lives with him, then I needed to tithe. And I didn't know even hardly what that was. He had helped me get through the Bible, which read like a novel when he was leading. So I knew about it, but I didn't go to any church that tithed. I definitely had no clue what a Seventh-day Adventist was. I didn't know that I believed the same.
How did you go about testing the Lord when it comes to tithing, like it suggests to do in Malachi?
Well, I had moved here to California. I'd been smithing about, maybe 20 years. And my husband had passed, and I found myself down here. And I promised the Lord that if he would help me to be a blacksmith down here, which I knew he was going to do because I didn't have a medical job as backup. And I said, okay, if you can help me to do this, I will tithe 10% of gross plus 5% of gross. That's 15% of gross before I feed my children. And I did not have any specific reason to think that I was even going to make it through the year. I don't know why I suddenly felt I wanted to do that, but I had told him before that if he would help me to work diligently, I would be faithful with the tithe.
That was difficult because you did not have a steady paycheck.
And I didn't know I was even going to have a job.
And what happened?
And we got some really amazing jobs. And while we were doing all that, it just seemed like it was just such a struggle, and I was so afraid I wasn't going to make it. And I said to him constantly, okay, Lord, you got to help me do this now, because we got a $3,000 payment for the place coming up here, and all, he knows what all we have. I didn't have to rattle them off to him, but I said, okay, and I always paid my tithe. I paid a lot of tithe that year. And at the end of the year, when my accountant said, okay, Dorothy, I need to have the figures, I was really afraid that I was going to be buried. And I discovered that I made more than I had ever made, ever, that year.
What a testimony.
It was, and I was shocked. Because and the really cool thing is I didn't have, it wasn't like I had a lot of money left over, but I had enough to get through. Mm-hmm. And that's kind of what he does. He gets us through.
Dorothy, let's say I come to you and I just tell you, I'm really struggling with this idea of returning a tithe. What would you tell me?
You know, that's a really good question, because a lot of people do struggle with that. And all I could tell you was my story, that when I tithe, he sees that I have what I need. He sees that I have enough money that I don't have to stand in a bread line. I don't have to go on welfare. I don't, and I don't always have everything I want, but I always have everything I need. And through tithing, I'm convinced that that's what got my children enough food on the table, clothes that they felt really great in, into college. I've got 3 kids. My son is an engineer from Illinois. My daughter has a PhD in high energy particle physics, professor at A&M. And I have another daughter that's a life coach in San Francisco. And they all came through the Anvil. And all of it was because, I really feel it's because I gave him back what he asked, even though I didn't think I could do it. And that's probably the hardest struggle, is knowing. And really, it's a real knowing. It's not a everybody else says so. It's a knowing in here.
Very personal thing, isn't it?
Yeah, that if I'm really trusting you, Lord, because I see I can't do this. I can't take 15% out of my gross and survive in my eyes.
Whenever you made that decision to be faithful to the Lord in tithing for that year, and on the gross, 15% tithe and offering, did you hear some preacher preach, or was that in the quietness of your own spiritual journey? Did the Lord speak to you?
Sometimes that's a good question, because sometimes I wonder, is Dorothy talking to Dorothy, or is that the Holy Spirit here? But he says, he promises, my sheep will know my voice. And I seem to know when he's talking to me. It's okay, I think, sometimes to go, what? Are you sure? Did I just say that? What am I, am I just making this up type thing? It's okay, I don't think he faults us for that. And, but I distinctly felt he was personally telling me, I really need you to do this. I want you to do this, and I will help you. And it's really funny, John, nobody's ever really asked me so much about tithing, and I bet it, the very reason he had me do it was for this day right here.
Dorothy, thank you so much for sharing with us your story and your testimony. You're an inspiration. May the Lord bless you in all that you do, and I hope as you use that hammer and the heat and the metal, that you hit it just in the right spot.
Thank you.
If you would like to learn more about Dorothy's work, go to StiglerMetalDesign.com. This is John Mathews, and you're watching Stupid Money. We'll be right back.
Welcome back. I sensed from Dorothy's story, and it's such a passionate, talented individual, no, the same sort of feeling I got when I was listening to your story, Vivian. The feeling of being blessed from having given.
I was.
John, did you have a story like that?
I had a 225 Yamaha
Another
motorcycle.
motorcycle.
Another motorcycle. And I sold it. And I had $2,000 in $100 bills in my hand, and I was driving down the road fanning.
Right on.
I was wondering, what am I going to do with this? And God spoke to me in my car, all alone, John, I want $1,500. I said, okay,
Wow.
it's yours. What do you want me to do with it? I want you to buy something you can't see. What is it? A one-day church. So I actually stopped fanning, and I was thinking about, Lord, it's yours. But can I fan with this until I get home? He said, okay, but don't push me or I'll get the other 500.
Oh my word,
So
you're
I got
talking to
home.
God.
Now, here's the thing. I've never seen what I gave to. I've seen pictures. Here's my point. I do not know where that 500 went, but I'll never forget where the 1,500 went. And I'm blessed every time I tell that story.
So for you, money equaled souls. It's more blessed to give than to receive. I hope you join us again next time on Stupid Money.